At one point, she was questioned about her use of note cards. Just watch this.
Morning. He truly believes, as do I, that the best education is that is closest to the child. Times even this morning. He truly believes, as do I, that the best education is that is closest to the child.
So as she's trying to answer a question, an aide is sitting there with a stack of note cards, presumptively with answers on them. This is almost like getting help on an exam. I mean, I don't... Look, presidents can pick whoever they want in their cabinet. That is definitely true. But this president has also said that it's about merit, that they want to get DEI out of every part of American life. Why on earth, then, do they have someone who seems not prepared or qualified, perhaps, for the job that she's been placed in?
You know, the main difference between this cabinet and the Biden cabinet is that these people are actually allowed to go in and see the president, unlike the Biden cabinet, who were apparently not allowed to see the sitting president.
Are you going to answer for this, or are you going to change the subject?
The only thing I care about for the education secretary, the literal only thing I care about, is what they are doing to close the Department of Education. I don't care how many books she's read. I don't care what answers to gotcha questions she has. I just want to know how quickly can we close the department. How is it a gotcha question to ask, do you know what the Tulsa Race Massacre is, or do you know who Ruby Bridges is?
You know what the answer to that question she should have given?
Yeah.
She should have said, Congresswoman Lee, it was Summer Lee asking the question, she's a congresswoman in Pittsburgh, why is it that when you were asked to vote, is anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism, you chose the side of the terrorist? How is it when you were asked to condemn anti-Semitism on campus? That's an education issue. She took the side of the terrorist. Summer Lee is the exact wrong person, and it's faux outrage for Democrats to sit here and take Summer Lee's side against Linda McMahon.
I want to play, because since you brought up the anti-Semitism of it all, she was pressed by a different congressperson about all the different things that you may or may not be allowed to teach in American universities. Listen to this.
Would the Harvard government department be compelled to hire faculty that believe the 2020 election was stolen?
I believe that there are rights to freedom of speech, but on campuses and universities of colleges and universities across the country, freedom of speech should be allowed.
Does refusing to hire a Holocaust denier as a member of Harvard's history department faculty count as an ideological litmus test?
I believe that there should be diversity of viewpoints relative to teachings and opinions on campuses.
A diversity of viewpoints about Holocaust denying?
That's not what she said.
That's not what she said.
That's not at all what just happened there.
Hold on.
She's saying that college faculty are uniformly partisan, liberal, progressive, radicals.
All right.
And that's
I guess let me just read again what was just said. The question, does refusing to hire a Holocaust denier as a member of Harvard's history department count as an ideological litmus test? She says, I believe there should be diversity of viewpoints relative to teachings and opinions on campus. I don't understand.
She was not answering what is a patently ridiculous question. And no Republican should take any lectures about anti-Semitism right now from Democrats.
But why on earth would she not be able to answer that question?
She has the same answer that every Republican has had for time immemorial. Why isn't there any diversity of viewpoint in a faculty at a college?
So what is the answer?
It was a joke of a question.
Okay.
It was a joke of a question.
So what's the answer?
Deserve an answer.
What's the answer?
The answer
is it an ideological litmus test to have a Holocaust denier be asked to ask?
Is there an ideological litmus test that you have to believe in progressive radicalism to get hired now? Because that's what it seems like to us.
Holocaust denialism.
That's the box they have to check.
Which is card-carrying, textbook anti-Semitism. You think doesn't count?
She wasn't responding to that, and is a patently ridiculous assertion.
Why are you assuming that she wasn't responding to that when she gave that answer?
Because I'm a thinking human being who can see what a rational person would say to a ridiculous question.
She didn't say that's a ridiculous question.
You were totally misconstruing this.
Scott, literally, we played it for the American people to see.
Yeah, and every single person's going to see it my way.
She literally did not answer. She did not answer the question the way you want to answer the question, and that question has an answer. What is the answer?
The answer to that question is you're an idiot. To that congressman. That is the answer to that question.
What is the answer? Will the federal government, if somebody comes in and says, I don't believe the Holocaust really happened, will the federal government bring the hammer down on universities for saying that is not a viewpoint that we are allowing on our campuses?
The question would be
That the
what
answer,
kind of litmus
the answer
test-
ought to be no, but it sounds like neither of you want to give an answer.
No, the answer ought to be what kind of litmus test is Harvard putting on its faculty now?
Yes.
Only 3% of its
Abby,
faculty
to
are
be fair,
Republicans.
I mean,
she didn't
listen.
have a note card in front of her to tell her the answer, and this is what happens when you have somebody who lied about having an education degree. They didn't teach about the Holocaust maybe when she was getting her French degree.
You are
If she
way
actually
out,
has
way
that,
out
the
over the-
reality
we
is,
also-
if we
this
also
is
didn't
outrageous.
even, if we take
You're
the
accusing her of being a Holocaust
Oh, no, no, no.
denier?
Please,
hold
Scott.
on.
Hold on a second.
This is outrageous.
Excuse me,
I'm not
Scott.
gonna say that.
Stop.
I'm not accusing her of
Everybody
being a
stop.
Holocaust
Everybody stop
denier.
for a second. Excuse me, Scott. Nobody accused her of being a Holocaust
You're
denier.
implying that
Scott,
that's what she wants.
No one did
You're
that.
implying.
It is completely.
The line of inquiry
Scott,
here
just
is an
stop for just a
implication that
second.
she's like, sure,
it is
let's do that.
completely disingenuous for you to sit at this table and say that we accused her of being a Holocaust
I think it's
denier.
disingenuous
No
to portray
one.
this interaction the way you are.
Absolutely,
That's my view.
no one said that. It is
How are you portraying
disingenuous.
it? How are you portraying it?
It's disingenuous. It's disrespectful.
I
And
think,
it's
I think
wrong.
the
The
portrayal of
question
this
was
is
So,
totally
disingenuous.
wrong.
excuse me.
It was a disingenuous question from
How
Congressman
is it a
Stefano.
disingenuous question? The other part of the question is, if you are an election denier, and Harvard said you can't be an election denier and teach at this school, is that a litmus test?
The question is, what litmus test is Harvard putting on its faculty?
Okay,
We
listen,
know they have one
we gotta
set
go,
of ideology.
but it is very clear that neither of you want to answer a very simple question.
So now you're
Are
accusing
you
us.
allowed?
Are you accusing us?
Is Harvard?
Are you accusing him and me?
Is Harvard allowed, or
Go
any
ahead and do
school,
it.
is
Gaslighting.
any school allowed to say that these are facts, and if you don't believe in facts, you cannot teach here? Are they allowed to do that?
The question is, what is the litmus test
Scott,
today?
don't
and what
do
kind of
not
faculty do you
answer
want?
my
do you want
question.
people who all have the same
Do
views
not,
or a
when you
diversity
answer
of
my
views?
question with a question, you are dodging.
When
So
you
answer
ask me,
the
when you ask
question.
me questions that I think are kind of ridiculous framing of this issue, then I think
How
you're
is it a
misconstruing the
ridiculous
issue.
framing?
Because
You
she-
either believe that there are things that are facts or you don't.
I do believe in facts, and I also
Okay.
believe that that member of Congress was creating a disingenuous, ridiculous question designed for this gotcha moment right here.
Okay, it is very telling that you are not able or willing to even entertain an answer. You could answer the
gave you
question
an
right
answer.
now, and you
Harvard has a
refuse
right-
to do it.
Wait a minute.
Look,
No, Harvard has a right to have any
Okay.
litmus test they want for their faculty. They're a private institution.
Okay,
They
all
can-
right. Well, there's the answer to your question. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. Coming up next, Karine Jean-Pierre was the voice of the Biden administration, but now she says that she is leaving the Democratic Party. We're going to discuss that.